This is episode 11. This episode is Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle. I got a really interesting idea after scrolling through my entire collection and realizing there's a lot of Golem creature type cards in the artifact section. So I took it upon myself to build a weird Golem tribal soft stax artifact deck. It's really strange, but it kind of works sometimes. So Teshar is 3 and a white for a legendary bird cleric. Is a 2/2 with flying. It reads, whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is one of the most hard to kill decks because everything you kill just gets brought back next turn because we're casting artifacts all game and tiny creatures aside from the golems. So with that, let's get started. Now this deck has 2 main win conditions that I'll just go over right away. We have Approach of the Second Sun, which is 6 and a white for a sorcery. If the spell was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell with the same name this game, you win the game. Otherwise, you put it into its owner's library, 7th from the top, and gain 7 life, putting you on a 7-turn clock to victory, provided you don't get counterspelled or anything of the sort, or, killed in 7 turns. Gotta be careful. The other win con is using Parhelion 2, which is 6 white for a legendary artifact vehicle. It's a 5/5 with flying, first strike, and vigilance, and an ability that reads, whenever it attacks, we create 2 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance that are attacking, and it crews for 4, which isn't a huge problem because there is a vehicle sub-theme in this deck of sorts. This deck is kind of all over the place, if you can't tell already. So, yep, let's get those out the way and get, I guess, into that vehicle sub-theme. There aren't too many, but I did find out that I own a giant ox from Kaldheim, which is 1 and a white for a 0/6 that crews vehicles using its toughness rather than its power. So you have this on the board, you can crew pretty much anything. Now the vehicles I decided to put in were Raider's Cairn, which is a 3 mana 4/4. Whenever it attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you can put it onto the battlefield tapped, and it crews for 3. I have Iron Tread Crusher, which is a 4 mana 6/6 with crew for 3, and the Colossal Plow, which is 2 mana for a 6/3 vehicle. When it attacks, we add 3 white to our mana pool and gain 3 life until end of turn. We do not lose this mana as steps and phases end. That crews for 6, which is perfect because the giant ox that crews with toughness has 6 toughness. So that just works out perfectly. Now the next thing is the Golem tribal type nonsense that I thought, oh hey, this is a cool idea that I don't think anybody's ever done. So here we are with cards like Bottle Golems, 4 mana 3/3 with trample. When it dies, we gain life equal to its power. Obviously Meteor Golem, 7 mana for 3/3. When it enters, destroy target non-land permanent an opponent controls. We have Epitaph Golem, which is a 5 mana 3/5. We can pay 2, put target card from our graveyard onto the bottom of our library. Tormod's Cryptkeeper, which is a 3 mana 3/2 with vigilance. We can tap it and sacrifice it, exile all cards from target player's graveyard, so like a Tormod's Crypt on a stick. And Maelstrom Colossus, which is an 8 mana 7/7 with Cascade. Now to help all of those, we do run Master Splicer, which is 3 and a white for a 1/1 human artificer. When it enters the battlefield, we create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token and has a static ability that reads, golems you control get +1/+1. You can bash our opponents in the face. The other kind of goal with this deck is a Voltron strategy. We can always suit up Teshar and just swing in for the win with enough power. He has only got 2, but we run some equipment in here that'll get him nice and chunky. With Sword of the Realms, 1 and a white for legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance. Whenever equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. Then we have Maul of the Skyclaves, 2 and a white for an artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature we control. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, has flying and first strike. We run Goldvein Pick, which is 2 mana equipment, gives a creature +1/+1, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we create a treasure token, equips for 1. We have Haunted Cloak, which is a 3 mana artifact, equips for 1, and reads, equipped creature has vigilance, trample, and haste. And then we have Grafted War Gear, 3 mana, equip cost of 0, gets +3/+2, but when it becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice said permanent. Now to find some of these, we have Teshar Swordsmith, which is 3 and a white for a 2/3 cat soldier. When it enters the battlefield, we can pay X amount of mana. If we do, search our library for an equipment card, converted mana cost X or less, and put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle our library. Now the most we would have to pay, I believe, is 3 to find either Haunted Cloak, Grafted War Gear, or Mole of the Skyclaves. So you really don't need that much extra to put into this. Some really fun, good artifacts in this deck are Soul Talisman, which is a soul ring on a 3-turn clock. We've got Scrapyard Recombiner, which can find us a construct in our library, which I'll bring up right now. I'm gonna go look for Phyrexian Digester, the hidden win, because nobody ever suspects a 3-mana 2/1 construct with Infect to come out in a mono white deck. Who would have thunk? We also do run Duplicant, which can copy stuff. We have Mirror Retriever. When it dies, we can get artifacts, graveyards to our hand, and Icon of Ancestry, choosing golems or constructs, whatever you happen to have more of or feel like running. Gives them all +1/+1. And we can pay 3, tap it, look at the top 3 cards of our library, reveal a creature card of the chosen type from among them, and put it into our hand, and put the rest on the bottom in a random order. And we do have some removal in white. Not anything super great, but we have a couple board wipes. We do run Austere Command and Doomscar, as well as Generous Gift, were some of the better cards I could think of to put in this deck. Now it's a soft stax, so we don't do it to lock anybody out of the game, we just do it to protect ourselves. It's not really stacks, it's more just protection. So we run Containment Priest, which is 1 and a white for a 2/2 with flash. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield this turn, if it wasn't cast, exile it instead. We have Sarah's Emissary, 7 mana total, 4 white for a 7/7 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, choose a card type. You and creatures you control have protection from the chosen card type. You could choose instants, you could choose creatures and really mess with people, that kind of thing. Archon of Emeria, 2 and a white for a 2/3. Archon with flying. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. Non-basic lands our opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Leonin Arbiter, 1 and a white for a 2/2. Players can't search their libraries. Any player may pay 2 for that player to ignore this effect until end of turn. Tithe Taker, 1 and a white for a 2/1. During our turn, spells our opponents cast cost 1 more to cast, and abilities that they activate cost 1 more unless they are mana abilities. And to round it out, we run Draenith Magistrate, which turns off the entire command zone for our opponents. 1 and a white. Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands, so it turns off graveyard nonsense, it turns off exile nonsense, it turns off commanders, that sort of thing. And then we also run Grand Abolisher to save ourselves during our turn. Your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Hope you guys sincerely enjoyed today's episode. If you did, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more like this, and leave comments on what other decks I should try to build. If you have ideas, just let me know. Feedback is always appreciated, and the deck list will be in the description. And I will see you guys next time.